Hello Booktube. Today I'm going to be doing the Booktube About Me tag. This tag was originally created by Harriet Rosie and I was tagged by Lia at Hyde and Seek. I'm going to list both channels down below. Now before I start, Lia at Lia Hyde and Seek is a brilliant booktuber. If you're not subscribed to her, I really recommend that you do, especially if you're one of the folks out there that feels that booktube is becoming a bit repetitive, that the same books are being discussed over and over again. Lia brings in a fresh taste of Australian fiction that we don't get to hear about often, so it brings a whole new dynamic to the YouTube booktube party, which is very nice. Plus she's also entertaining to listen to. So I'm going to start with with the questions. They're written down below, so excuse me staring at my knees. Number one, what do I do? Well, I'm an English teacher. I have taught English foreign language in South Korea. I have taught English home language, and in the past and now again this year I'm going to be doing English first additional language. First additional language? Folks who are paid so much more than I am decided that second language was derogatory and that first additional language was a lot better term. We will leave that linguistic debate to those folks who clearly are far more wise than I am. Number two, what is your favorite channel on social media? Well, I've got two. The first one is obviously Booktube. I love Booktube. There's nothing like seeing readers get enthusiastic about their books. It's something that you can't quite convey in print, at least not as honestly as you can on Booktube. The other channel that I really enjoy for social media is Goodreads. And I know this isn't a very popular opinion because, yes, we've all declared that reading is fun and that, you know, it shouldn't be steam driven and whatnot, but I like being steam driven. Forget the TBR pile. There are millions of books out there that I would like to read. And if I don't put a bit of motivation and vummer into my reading speed, I'm never going to get there. And I like the fact that Goodreads makes it public, which means that I will therefore achieve my goal. That's the same reason why I've won NaNoWriMo every year that I've done it, because I've made it public, therefore it shall be done. Number three, if I had a second channel, what would it be about? This is actually a really good question because it's something that I was debating many years ago before I even started this one. So this was technically, potentially my first channel. Here in South Africa, because of the past, there's a very big discrepancy between the standard of education or the quality of education in poorer schools. And I have been giving it a lot of thought about trying to assist where I could. And the one thing that I thought about doing was making YouTube channels, making a YouTube channel that catered for assisting matrics, which is our final year of high school, with English. The problem is, one, I have been hectically busy, and that's something you either do properly or you don't do it at all. And the second thing is that, to be totally honest, the people that would have access to it are the kids that already have the better advantages at school, who have access to tutors, extra lessons, textbooks, toilets that flush, you know, those kind of things in their classrooms. Well, not necessarily in the classroom. So yeah, what I'm happy with this year is that I will be teaching in a government school, and it's not a rich school, it's a poor school, and I'm hoping that I might at least be able to reach some of those kids one-on-one this year. Number four, do I play any instruments? Yes, I do. I play the piano. Well, maybe we should consider this past tense. But I learned how to play the piano since I was 5. And up until high school, where eventually I dropped it. But the piano and I have had an on-again, off-again relationship. When it's on again, it's all out, play for hours every day, and I get to be very good. But when it's off again, it's off. I mean, I've barely touched it in 8 years. I think I've played twice in 2017. So, although I could play Pathetique, which is well, not all 19 minutes of it, but maybe a good fair 12, which is Beethoven's 8th piano sonata. Nowadays, I also play the guitar. I'm not a lead guitarist, I'm the background rhythm guitarist. You know, it works fine for the braai, which is South African for a barbecue. where, you know, it's just social, it's casual, people are singing along, and nobody really cares if everyone's off key. You know, I do fine in those situations. Number 5, what hobbies do I have other than reading? I have loads of hobbies actually, but I go through phases. The only thing that really is a constant and always has been with me is reading. But I enjoy knitting, not things like jerseys. I like doing lace knitting. Not that I wear lace knitting, but I enjoy the challenge. Anything that is fiddly, finicky, where you need to be really fussy, that I enjoy. I do crocheting as well. I've do some art. I've never had a lesson in my life, but I'm pretty good at art, particularly portraits. I either draw, I prefer charcoal, or else I paint acrylic or oil, not too fussy there. But yeah, I can't do landscapes. My nature, I want to go into all those little details, and you can't with landscapes. And I used to be a very avid gardener. My garden used to look like it fell off the front cover of a Garden and Homes magazine, but 2 years into one hell of a drought, add puppies, and now I look like I have a setting for a post-apocalyptic movie with the drought. Even my veggie garden is gone, and that's the part that I miss the most, because I had peas, beans, tomatoes, spinach, lettuce, radishes, rocket, you name it. I had it growing, and that was fabulous because I could just go outside and pick what I want and then go put it in for supper. And yeah, but when the drought is over, that will start again, and when the next drought hits, it will die, and when that drought ends, I will start it again. It's kind of like farming, I suppose, just in miniature. Favorite TV shows. Look, when I did watch TV, I considered it purely and utterly recreational, something where you take your brain, put it on the table on the side, and you say, you just can relax now. So I used to enjoy things like Arrow and The Flash. And the reason I'm using the past tense is because I'm 2 years behind. And although I genuinely have been very busy, I have made time to read a lot of books. I've made time to knit 2 shawls and to crochet a massive blanket. If I wanted to, I could have really found the time to watch as well. So I suppose at the end of the day, my honest answer is that I really kind of prefer reading. 7. What got me into reading? Well, this is what gets most people into reading. One or both of my parents read, and in my case, it started off with my mom. My mom read to us as little children, and I just learned to love going to bed with the story, and I have read myself to sleep ever since. The other thing is that when mom stopped doing what moms do in the line of work and sat down and had a break, those rare moments, my mom used to sit down and read, and I grew up thinking that reading is what normal people did when they were having some R&R. Number 8, favorite and least favorite genres. Well, as to favorite genres, I suppose if we go through my stats, fantasy, historical fiction and crime, and I suppose literary fiction, although I don't actually mark that off as a genre in my stats, those would probably be the most popular. What doesn't feature is romance, erotica, things like that, romance or erotica. I'll get to the reasons for that later. But yeah, I mean, there are genres that I don't get to, but it's not that I've got anything against them. I mean, I live on the tip of Africa. The chances of us getting our hands on westerns are very few and far between. So there are genres that I don't really get to, but it's got nothing to do with preference. It's got a lot to do with what's available. Number 9. What books define my childhood? Well, that would be quite easy. It starts off with Enid Blyton and then moved on to the Hardy Boys, and then it hit a bit of a very awkward period, because back in my day there was no such thing really as young adult fiction. It was either children or adult, and the transition phase wasn't very well catered for. In fact, the only thing that was catered for in my age group for my gender was romance novels, the Sweet Dreams books. And I think that is why I don't like romance today. Because while the boys were still allowed adventures, and I'm not going to say that these were young adults, well, the same standard as the young adult that we have today, the boys were still going out and finding a purpose in life. They were doing something. Whereas for the females, it was, oh, I've got a boyfriend. And that just made me sick. I just felt that there was a bigger purpose. I wanted to be out and doing what the boys were doing. And it's not that I would have thought of myself as a feminist back when I was a kid, but I think I must have had feminist tendencies back in those days already, because I really think that that is what has affected my reading as an adult as to why I don't like reading romance novels. I feel that there is a bigger purpose out there than just falling in love. But who knows, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there is. Maybe I just haven't fallen in love with the right person, that I don't realize that this is the be all and end all of my existence. But yeah, once I had finished dabbling around and trying to find books that gripped me, I went from that to Robert Ludlum. And classics as well, because the classics were fairly safe. Number 10, interesting facts about me. I can wave with my baby toes. There will be no demonstration of this. I'm also pretty ambidextrous, which is quite nice. I think it comes from playing the piano for forever, because when I'm drawing, if I've already done some part and I want to add something on the left, I don't need to use my right hand. I can use my left, so I don't stick my hand in charcoal or wet paint. And yeah, 7 years martial arts. We'll just leave it at that. We've got to have some mystery and surprise. So I am going to tag the following people. I'm going to tag Elena Makrodina. Now, Elena is a very interesting Russian booktuber. And first of all, I have to say, hats off to her. This girl has got guts, because to sit down and speak in the language that is not your most comfortable language on an international platform takes guts. And Elena has got guts. And then on top of it, Elena doesn't just read easy books. No, she did ShakeTube, she did the Decameron with Memento Mori, she does sci-fi reads with Richardson reads, things like that. So she is a very interesting booktuber. Plus you get to hear all the Russian names pronounced correctly, which is quite something. Then I'd like to tag Hope's Bookporium. Now, Hope is a very young booktuber. She's only got 2 videos out. But I know Hope from real life, because Hope used to work in the bookshop that I would live in if it was allowed for one to live in a bookshop, you know, as a customer. And yeah, Hope is starting off new adventures in life, and she's starting off with a new booktube channel. And although she's a young booktuber, I feel that I should support her, because she has supported my book addiction for many years and put up with all my rubbish. And then I would like to tag 3 fairly new booktubers. The first one is Rapacious Reads, Between Lines in Life, Sweetie, How Did I Not Know You Were From Switzerland? And Time for Books. I want to spread a bit of the booktube love. Well, that's me for now. Thank you for watching. The next time you should see me hopefully will be with another weekly reads, although this weekly reads has been a bit weak. Just a warning. It might be a very short video. Happy reading. Bye for now.